Give it a few more seconds and we'll. Whoa. All right. Hello, everybody. You are listening to Transparency and Merit. Maybe you're watching it. And tonight, we're going to discuss... I'm going to need some help with this name. Lauren Jauregui and Leftist Ideology. All right.
And I don't know how to really properly pronounce your name because it's like it's Latin, so I don't.
Wait, I thought you said she was Egyptian.
No, I did not say she's Egyptian. She is actually a Cuban American, or an American of Cuban descent, and I don't know.
I thought you were talking about somebody else. I could have sworn you said somebody was Egyptian earlier. No?
I have family members that are Egyptian, but no, she is not.
Well, that's exotic.
But no, she is an American of Cuban descent. I am hearing an echo. I think we only hear that echo. So I don't think we'll hear it in the afterplay. I could be completely wrong.
I hope not. I don't hear it, and it's probably this music. Let me turn it down. Radio then. And so do you still hear the echo?
Let me see if I'm talking. No, I actually do not.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit, but it's not that bad. I wanted to get into this, and it's just kind of, for me, it's a little bit on the sad side. I don't want anyone to ever attack this person or go after them. I mean, they have the right to believe what they want, but at a time when America is really struggling, the types of things that were being said, we're not very loving to America. To call America, white supremacy and things like genocide and stolen land. All countries came about through conquest. So when people say America is based on stolen land and genocide, one of the things I ask is compared to what? What are you comparing America to? What nation are you comparing America to? And can you show me in practice what nation you want to show us what we could live up to? One that has diversity? I mean, it's just, and not only coming at a time, but it shows to a degree how much America, the American psyche has changed. And maybe it's primarily with people who choose the entertainment industry and how strong leftist ideology is. Because this is a Cuban American who was spouting this stuff off. And Cuban Americans primarily have been, as far as the Hispanic population or the Latino population, they have usually been the most patriotic. I mean, for a long time, and I don't know if it's still the case, but there were, Cuban neighborhoods in Florida Like I know that the Che Rivera shirts have been popular, but if you had a shirt like that and you walked into a Cuban neighborhood, you were taking a risk. I mean, they were very anti-communist and very pro-America, and that's not the kind of thing that we see today. It's not the kind of thing that we see out of our entertainers and just a lot of people in general. They're very anti-America, and they're very anti-white. I mean, like anti-white, if you want to get right down to it. And it's like, geez. And in a time when so many people are suffering, I mean, worldwide, but if you're here in America, I mean, you look at what's happening in the stock market and what happened in oil prices. A lot of people are going to be suffering. And for someone to espouse, the types of things about America, particularly coming from a person of Cuban descent, you just think it's just to me kind of sad to see how things have kind of devolved. And I also see this, from Korean Americans. And Korean Americans at one time, the ones that were here were very patriotic, and they understood the sacrifices that America made, particularly for that country. And that's just not the case anymore. I mean, she's a loving person, but for this country, it's almost like she's got no, like she doesn't really have like any love. You'd almost say, and I don't want to say hatred, but it didn't feel loving at all. This is where you're living, and you're pointing out, the worst things about this country. I mean, most of us are aware of what happened between the Native Americans, or what they call the indigenous people, and the European settlers. It wasn't pleasant, but it is what it is. And it's like you can't go back in history, and it's just not a time to point that stuff out. I just don't like that. And at this point in time, I find it kind of disheartening. I mean, when Americans right now, I mean, I almost feel like we are as close to becoming as balkanized and into hostile factions as never before. We're buying, Americans are buying firearms like never before. And, people by nature are just all around are feeling persecuted, and feeling, and are nervous and are afraid. And a lot of these videos that are supposed to make me, like, I watched a video from Jubilee that was supposed to make people feel good. It didn't make me feel good. It made me like, man, what's, and there's so much unknown and uncertainty out there at this moment. Because, like if you hear people talk, COVID-19 could get you, and also poverty could strike you. And it's like, do you want to lose your left leg or your right leg? Which one do you want to get chopped off? Which one can you do without worse? Do you want to take this tunnel over here, where you're going to get shot a lot of times, or do you want to take this tunnel over here where you're going to get stabbed a lot of times? It's like there are no easy solutions to these problems right now.
I think there's some areas I agree with. There's some I disagree with. For one, this system where we've been in needed to crumble, and people have been predicting this crumbling for quite a while.
Not this way.
It doesn't surprise me one bit. Now, the way they're doing it is out of necessity. They need to have people controlled. They need to have people not gathering in groups, because at this point, when you have this many people who don't see eye to eye, and you haven't seen anything but division, this is a divide and conquer method they've gone. And so when you have this many people who don't agree on anything, on any level, and to not have that ability to meet and discuss these ideas, to figure out what's going on a much deeper level, on a much wider scope, then this is where we find ourselves. And the system, whether it was the stock market or whatever, no one could have predicted a halt of the entire economy over a flu. Yeah. But this is where we're at.
Oil prices are down to -0, like down to negative digits, and it's just like these are
-$38 a barrel. What is that? Does that mean if I go get gas tomorrow, they're going to credit my account?
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing things unprecedented. We're seeing, like a couple of times we've seen like third world conditions. And this is something that's going to be very unique. And it could turn into a balkanized situation where America turns into hostile factions. And it's kind of sad to see that a lot of people don't see that. And we're not coming, look, we are not coming together. We don't agree with each other, and we don't like each other. We've all, since the election of Donald Trump, our president, we've seen division like we've never seen. Now, there's always been division, but there is true division in this country. And I don't know what can bring us together, because we're both angry, and, I think the right is buying a little bit more firearms, but the left is also, there are people on the left who are also buying firearms. And, there is true division, and, we can't stand each other. We don't, as Americans, we don't like each other.
Says who?
Says me, from my observation. The left and right, as never before.
Wait a second. What are you basing this on? Can you give me some detail here? Who doesn't like who?
All you have to do is go to social media, and you'll see it.
I'm talking about in real life. Don't point me to social media, because that's all run by the government.
People on social media are in real life, and people on social media are.
So you have no real life example.
What do you mean a real life example?
You're just telling me we don't like each other. Dude, give me a real life example.
I'll mention my neighbor, who I had a conversation with, and we quit talking. We just changed the subject, but there were things that were pretty deep. Hey, how about when I went out? Let me tell you this. How about when I went out protesting, how many people didn't want to engage me? And the one person that engaged me was in my opinion, she was a Jewish person, because I was talking about South Africa. But she was.
When we went to the Women's March.
Yeah.
We got a video up, by the way, on our YouTube. But yeah, go ahead.
I take that back. There were some people who kind of agreed with me. And then most people kind of they didn't want to get into that subject, which means they're kind of blind. But and the one person who engaged me, who were actively disagreed with me, it's almost like leftism was almost her new religion, her faith. She was Jewish, but she had views on racism that I disagreed with, and she seemed to have little or no empathy to what was going on in South Africa. And if bad things happen to a certain group, she's going to have little or no empathy for that. And that to me is the left. They have little, and I'll say it out. I mean, with whites, they have little to no empathy. They think you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and they have little to no empathy for any suffering that happens to you. And they don't have any love for America. And they see this country in the worst of terms. And it's kind of, to me, I don't know. I mean, I like to think of our country, even though we don't necessarily live up to the standards, we're a country that's based on liberty and the rule of law. And when I see people put it down and point out the worst parts of it, I don't like it. Kind of makes me upset. Now, I want to mention in the first half of this video, she's talking about love and distancing and
Only more than 56.
Can we fast forward a little bit? Oh.
It's a quick little intro. Hello, everyone. I just dropped a song, and that's the song. It's called 50 Feet. For those of you who are watching and haven't heard it yet, what the fuck are you doing? How are you in my life and haven't heard my song? It's a really good question. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Attunement. I'm your host, Lauren Jauregui. All right. So I was kind of between a bunch of different things for what I was going to talk about today. I was originally going to do something sound-oriented, but I'm saving that for another date.
Thank you.
Because I've got a special guest who unfortunately wasn't able
All right, I'll
it.
fast forward.
They will be part of it. Fingers crossed.
Okay, first of all, why are we showing this video of all videos on the internets? Why do we have to see Lauren?
This video I was watching and I was watching it haphazardly. Thank you, Coach Shangi. He was just.
What's up, Shangi?
I don't want to put out what he's saying because it's a little bit, I don't want to get any.
I emailed Shangi, so check that.
The show on Friday.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, she talks about distancing from people and people having respect for her boundaries, and I kind of agree with that. I mean, there's nothing to argue with about that. It's what she said about America and about capitalism.
Is that in this video?
It is in this video. I don't remember how far above it is.
Let me know if this is too far. Let's see.
Let's take a look here.
So but grow to know in this practice that you are entitled to your space. You are entitled to your power. You are entitled to feeling full before you shit on a kid, emotionally, when you tell them that they're a bad person. So start there. Start with writing the name down, what you want to say to them or how they make you feel and what you feel like that boundary is, and then try talking to them.
We're not there yet?
I don't think. Let's take a look. I mean, she said a lot of things. It was,
when you say tal cosa, whatever it is that they're saying to you that makes you feel insecure, it makes me feel insecure. It makes me feel unsafe. It makes me feel whatever it is that makes you feel. Express how you're feeling and try to express without blame, because a lot of people don't react well to blame. So try to, again, when you're expressing to somebody how you're feeling.
Oh, okay. I can't.
All right. That's, I mean, look, she's young. I think she's He's just making, yeah.
Who's there? We have a caller.
What do you mean, who's there?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Who is this? Is this?
Oh, you're hearing my comments. Sorry. This is Angela, Political Woodstock. How are you doing?
Yes.
Hey, Angela.
I'm depressed, to be honest with you, and disappointed. I mean, like,
Ooh.
Because Brian doesn't have an excuse to be depressed. What's your excuse?
what are you talking about? Have you looked at the stock market and the price of oil lately?
White people problems.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have looked at it. We're heavily invested in oil.
You got stock market woes, and you can't drive real far. I should just say first world problems.
Yeah, God. I mean,
And that lost 20 million today. 20 million, which makes our losses seem.
who lost 20 million today?
Well, his dad had been CEO of Phillips Petroleum, now ConocoPhillips. So he got a lot of stock when Daddy died. So this is crazy. A lot of money. But, Saudi Arabia and Russia having the same type of war that they had in 1976 when it comes to oil, it will turn around. It'll just be very slow. Do you remember 1976 at all?
I do remember 1976. I remember those very long gas lines. And not fun.
Maybe what we're faced with when we're finally out of quarantine. But not now. I mean, I know in Oklahoma, gas, I guess it was last week, was 99 cents a gallon. Under $1. That's crazy.
By the way, now you're following Democratic politics. What is the consensus in the Democratic Party with Biden?
Oh, the party line is vote blue no matter who. Like they're strong arming people to vote for him. And a lot of people are waiting to find out who his vice president pick will be. That's key. Because I mean, it could be true that he doesn't make it. Maybe he becomes incapacitated. But then we have a tyrant in the White House. I mean, which one is worse? A
tyrant?
Well, to me, he's a tyrant.
How so? I mean, look, I'm no Trump sycophant, but tyrant?
Other choices. He could have made other choices, Brian. And he chose to choose his ego instead of the American people, in my opinion.
You know what? Everybody dropped the ball. And you know who else has an ego? Is Nancy Pelosi. I mean, the Democratic machine has
ego.
They both. I mean, if Nancy Pelosi and Trump could go, I mean, I would be in favor of if we get rid of Nancy Pelosi and Trump, then I'd be in favor of it both. But if it's just Trump and Nancy Pelosi sticks around, no way. No way. That was some of the most narcissistic behavior I've ever seen. Awful.
Well, she's not perfect, but she's not as bad as Trump, in my opinion.
I respectfully disagree.
I mean, that's fine. I have no problem with, you and I disagree quite often, and that's fine.
What is the consensus?
I'm worried about Stabby McHugs. I'm really worried about him. I've heard some disturbing things. And
what happened to Stabby now? I talked to him earlier today. He was fine.
We need to do an intervention. We need to do an intervention. We really do.
Angela, it's not your job.
Is he a drug addict or is he depressed?
I mean, well, he's made some choices, like delved into some certain worlds, and he needs friends to say, pull back, come back.
Can you give us an example, please?
Okay, the gaming. The gaming's getting out of control.
Agreed.
He's 420ing it up, like it's 420 every day.
He likes his weed, okay. It is 420.
But it's just gone to a different level. I don't have a problem with people using it, especially if they have anxiety or these. Look, I have.
So do I, Shangy. Shangy celebrates 420 every day. I don't see a problem with that.
Well, that's
now,
cool.
Stabby, was worried about me. He said I was being a bad friend today to Mr. Midnight Movie, to
Really?
Brian. He said that today for 420 I should be going to his house to try to get him to smoke some weed.
Oh my gosh, he's trying to pull you into his world, Mr.
You know what? I don't care. You know, the world all he wants. I don't know. I don't know if that's.
I agree with the gaming.
Yes.
I'm not a fan. I think gaming is kind of a disastrous tool for people, for young people. Besides being a data
reward.
Besides being a complete data mining operation.
I have to say something here. I think it's an empty reward when they think they've gone to the next level or finally beat this thing. You know, it's an empty reward. I mean, what does it really accomplish?
You know what? Nothing.
You interrupt me to say that. Jeez.
I mean,
yes.
Jeez, Angela.
I'm not.
The all-time low. All right, go ahead, Brian.
Well, let me just say this. Overnight, we've seen America change. Our culture has changed through social distancing. Can't touch people. Shaking hands. Going to the movies. It's not gonna. I mean, people are saying that may never make a comeback. All the things that you once knew are done for.
Now, I believe some of, I forget which theater company, movie theater company.
AMC.
They bankruptcy and they're
today?
Reorganizing.
Did that happen today?
No,
What?
I think that happened a while ago. I think they did.
What was it? 2 days ago?
Oh my God.
It was an article. It was posted that. But bankruptcy's not the end. They're just reorganizing so they can survive, basically. But it was one of the bigger chains throughout America, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name.
AMC.
But I do miss my friend very much, and I don't understand what killed him. He loaded up 3 videos on YouTube. This is a friend from Tulsa that we talked to quite often. And he was a comedian. You guys would have loved him because he was really, he wasn't politically correct. But he was so, belly veil, big belly, and he was something else. And he had a lot of kids. He helped a lot.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the thing of it is, I think a lot of tragedy. We could be up for a lot of tragedy out there. A lot of bad things are possibly going to happen. And these are some very, very scary times right now. And there seems to be the suffering, right now, there's going to be, we've only begun to see the amount of suffering that could happen in this world and in this country. And,
and I'm just going to say this out real quick, that AMC did not file bankruptcy yet. It's been in the news that they might. And
well, there was an article I posted.
They're doing that they already did, because I'm only finding articles that they doing everything in their power not to.
Well, it's in your server. I'll look for it later. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago.
Oh.
My friend died maybe a day or 2 before I saw that article.
But and I wanted to go back to the subject at hand, because the name of our show is Lauren Jauregui. Jauregui. I don't know how to say her last name very well.
A podcaster.
She's not. She's a singer. Lauren
Jauregui.
She's a YouTube. She's an entertainer. She's a singer. And
I found that article, by the way, Angela.
She started out on the X Factor, and then she was on Fifth Harmony. I don't know, you have younger teenage kids, so your kids may know who this person is. But
Probably my daughter would.
yeah, but for me, a Cuban American, I mean, it is disheartening, but I'm not surprised because there are other Cuban Americans that have very leftist opinions, and Korean Americans with very leftist opinions, when usually they were the one minority that was like very conservative, and not the case anymore. And
AMC is $5 billion in debt with only $300 million in the bank, and that created the problem. I guess they're selling off $500 million of that debt, but still leaves them quite a bit in the hole.
it's the time to invest in AMC, people. Think we can put our show on?
Yes.
Well, I think, bankruptcy is not that option, and they can survive if they do that. What other option do you have?
Out of business.
Got to pull it to the head. I mean, it's almost like, do you want a slow death? Or if death is going to come, I want a quick one.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. I wonder how do you get $5 billion in debt? That wasn't something that happened last year. This is something that's been steamrolling through the last several years and decades. So.
Well, they could have been building new theaters. We don't know what their investments were. You have whoa. Sorry. I have kittens everywhere, and I almost dropped one.
Welcome, folks. I just want to say, welcome to the apocalypse. It's here, man. I mean, it's like it's. Man, I mean, this kind of, you know what? Maybe 420 is the only thing that we can do. I mean, like, take as many drugs as you can. I mean, like, oh man, I don't know. Like, this is horrible. Maybe if I took some cannabis, I might feel better. I don't know.
It might help. It might.
Perfectly good legal option for you. Yeah, no thanks, man. No, I'm not taking your call, man.
Who's that?
That's Howard. He must like my hat.
You don't want to talk to Howard?
I don't.
Well, he might bring more doom and gloom just to make us feel worse.
Well, of course he's going to bring
What are things that we can be thankful for? Is there anything good happen?
He should make good decisions. He shouldn't misrepresent himself while using copyrighted material. He knows better.
What did he make copyrighted material? What do you mean?
Well, he knows. Don't worry. He's just, he needs to make better decisions as an adult.
Okay.
He should use his adult mind, and he should just change his strategy, I think. That's just my thoughts.
Are you talking about Howard?
Yes.
I think he's intelligent, but sometimes doesn't use his talents to the best good.
Like I said, you know what, man? I see a lot of doom and gloom. I see a lot of, I see the possibility, not necessarily, but of, just a lot of strife. And I do see the possibility of America really balkanizing and turning into real hostile factions.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, this kind of economic strife, and Americans have been buying firearms like never before.
And bullets.
And
Yes.
bullets, guns, everything. I mean, this is going to be like, and when you see death and when you see destruction, you're going to see. Another. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you can either pick him up or he can continue to call.
No, I picked up. He hung up.
Oh, is he doing that again?
Yeah. Come on, man.
Oh, you pick up and then he hangs up. That's what he's doing.
Yes. I
This-
picked up. He
Why
hung up.
don't we focus on? Why don't we
Well, no,
focus
it's-
on
it-
what is
yeah.
good? Like the earth is healing, the earth is breathing. We can all agree that that is a good thing.
No, we cannot all agree on that. That's why,
No?
again, we are balkanizing. That's one of the reasons why America could easily fracture into very hostile factions. Not something I want to see. It's up to you if you don't want to.
I'm just trying to
Yes,
think of
hello.
something positive. That's the only thing I can think of.
Hello.
Have you made out your will yet?
I
I
have
used to have one.
I have certain portions of my will. So you don't think I'm gonna? You don't think we're gonna? Well, you know what? Me being diabetic may not make it. That may be the truth. I just hope it's a quick death, that it's a slow one.
Well,
Well,
for
my
you, it
friend
might
died
be.
very quickly.
Put the bullet right in the head.
What are
Don't.
you going to do if you don't get it, and you're one of the minority that didn't get it? Then what are you going to do?
The minority doesn't get a bullet to the head, or a minority that doesn't get what he needs.
It's a virus. You won't be allowed back to work. You'll need the digital passport that says that you've been infected so that you can go back to work.
I don't. You know what I mean? That part. I mean, look. I don't know how we're going to handle this virus. I don't know how we're going to, deal with.
Not going to, well,
I mean, Howard, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If the virus is real and it's as bad as people say, then, if the economy shuts down, there's going to be a lot of death regardless. There are no easy answers here. It's like, it's between chopping your arm off, chopping your left leg off, or your right leg, right?
no.
Lots of death.
The economy has shut down. The economy has shut down already. And I don't know what you mean if the virus is real. Don't you know anybody who has it? I do.
Well, I don't want to say, or if it's as bad as people say, like if it's as contagious, or is, like we've never shut down we've never shut down the economy this way before. This is unprecedented, from my understanding.
Isn't it amazing that the whole world seems to be following the same blueprint?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard that Sweden, or there are a few countries that have not completely shut down the way the rest of the world has, but most of them are following the same blueprint. You're correct on that. Yes.
And they're doing fine. They didn't need to shut everything down. You can decide that you're not going to get it. But are you really careful? Are you really taking the precautions that you need to take?
I wear a mask when I go out to the store, and then I stay in the rest of the time.
And when you come back from the store, you take your shoes off at the front door?
I do.
No.
So you walk around inside your apartment with your shoes on.
I never thought of that.
I never wear
Well,
shoes in
that's
the house.
something you can change.
When you buy groceries,
Mhm.
do you clean the groceries before you put them in the refrigerator?
Yes.
Get get rid of all the bags and all the wrappings and
Yes.
put everything in a different container after you cleaned it?
I don't know how to put everything in a different container, but I clean it.
Okay.
Well, if I buy cereal boxes, I use a Lysol on the outside of it because I don't know who's touched it.
It's very difficult to get Lysol nowadays, by the way. That's the one thing that they're out of.
Why don't you just open the box, take the plastic bag that's inside the box out, and throw the box away?
Because we have to do things a certain way. I have someone in the house that has a certain routine.
Unless that routine is death, I suggest you change that routine.
I'll consider it.
So, Howard, how bad do you think the world economy is going to get? How much worse?
I think you ain't seen nothing yet.
He's right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think they
Unfortunately,
even dare
RD
to
is
tell
with us, by the way. RD hails from, what is it, Denmark that you're from?
No, the Netherlands.
Okay. My bad.
Did the Netherlands shut everything down, or did they just leave everything running?
We have what they call an intelligent lockdown. So our lockdown is milder than most lockdowns.
So did you have questionable things that they were told they couldn't do, such as businesses? What was question? What did they say that couldn't run that you questioned why?
The only question I have in my head right now is how the fuck they're going to open the elementary schools next month.
Have you been infected?
I don't know. They don't test people that don't nearly die here, so you'll never know.
That's true.
So why would you send your children to school when every day you'll have to wonder, are they bringing it home?
No, the thing is that the studies show, that's what they're going to tell us tonight. They're going to try to convince us that it's all safe. That children don't seem to be affected as much in the sense that they don't get sick. And if they get infected, they have mild symptoms, but also that they don't spread the virus as much as adults do. But we don't really have a reason for that.
Wait. Who told you that? Who told you they don't spread the virus?
A lot of studies are coming out of a lot of countries saying that.
When your kid gets the common cold, don't you get it?
Well, that's the thing. This virus, according to our experts, seems to behave completely differently than all the other viruses. And I don't buy that, but that's what they're telling us.
Mm-hmm. You do realize that in January, the Chinese, the evil Chinese creatures, were told to buy up all the personal protective gear in the United States, Germany, Italy, Australia, all the first world countries. Did you know that?
I know. I know it because we send a lot of shit to China back in January. I remember that being on TV.
I'm not talking about what you sent to China, because after the Chinese got done raiding all of the stores of all protective gear, then all the countries sent gear to China, not knowing that the Chinese had scooped it all up. At the same time that they were telling us that it wasn't infectious, and it was. So
that's what I'm saying. We send a lot of shit over there, but they're also sending it back right now. So I'm not sure if we did a good thing back then in helping them, because now they're helping us. So.
They don't send it back for free.
No, it's
did you know this? Did you know this?
We didn't.
You know.
Free over there.
Did you know they sold Italy their own stuff?
Well, I don't know
Italy-
if Italy sent it to them.
It-
I don't know about
Italy sent millions of masks and protective gear to China as a donation. China sold them back their own donations.
Yeah,
Are you a China
I
apologist?
don't know about that.
Are you
I
a
don't know if we have money for it when we send the
Are you
army.
China apologist, RD?
Say that again?
Are you a Chinese apologist?
No, maybe I am. I don't know. Define the thing. Have you got a test for me? You asked me some questions and determine if I am.
I just told you that Italy donated protective gear to China, and China sold it back to Italy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I mean, you can tell me that, but I never saw that anywhere else. So.
It's in reputable newspapers. If I was in front of my computer, I'd give you a link to it right now.
Howard,
I don't think I don't have.
What should be done? What should be done to China? What can we do without like? I mean, if we went to war with China, we'd destroy ourselves. I mean, we did go to. I mean, during the Korean War, we fought the Chinese.
You're going to have a no matter what. You will have a war with China.
A nuclear that would include nuclear weapons.
Maybe, including most countries that don't have the balls to stick up for themselves against China, like France and the Netherlands, Norway, all those countries. They'll all buckle under China's pressure.
So you're saying that there's going to be a hot war between the U.S. and China?
Yes. I would like to drop nuclear weapons in Beijing. I'd like to see Beijing to turn into glass.
Wouldn't they do the same to us in America?
Maybe. We could knock out their nuclear weapons first strike.
That's a possibility.
Like with Russia.
Ridiculous.
Do we have the capabilities?
The first thing that we need to do is
Not
death
liking
China.
Could America hit China? Could we hit China and harm them and knock out their nuclear capabilities? Could we strike them without them retaliating? Is that a possibility?
Possible. However, first thing you should do is any debt that's owed to China should be now considered null and void. They've got $1.9 trillion worth of our debt gone. Any money in the bank that China has in any U.S. bank and any bank that deals with the SWIFT system, frozen. They owe us money, lots of it, and they owe it to every single citizen of the world. Should be distributed to everyone.
So I found an article about what you just said, Howard. And this story says that the source is an unnamed senior Trump official. So I'm not sure how serious I should take this.
Well, that's not the article that I have, RD, so I could really give a shit what article you looked up. But it sounds like you cherry-picked your article. But I think you're a Chinese apologist.
No, this is the first one. I just Googled for what you were telling me, and this is what I found.
I'm glad you found it. I'm glad you picked the first one. How fortunate for you. I still think you're a Chinese apologist.
No, I mean, the title is China makes Italy buy back its personal protective gear during coronavirus.
I don't care what the title.
No, I didn't know.
Let me ask Ardie a question. Was America and her allies right to fight the Korean War? Was America on the right side? And because we fought the Chinese as well. Were we correct?
You shouldn't ask a pacifist if any war is correct.
Okay.
Most sensible thing I've heard tonight.
I have a question.
Joe, you're not a pacifist.
RD, do you own a gun?
No, I don't.
If a man broke into your home with a hatchet and walked up to your child and said he was going to swing that hatchet and cut her head off, if you had a gun, would you shoot him?
Well, of course, but you don't understand.
Then you're a bullshit pacifist.
No. What pacifist means is that you don't believe in the initiation of violence. There's no such thing as a pacifist that doesn't believe in self-defense.
I think you must have looked up the first definition you found of pacifism.
No, I didn't even look up the definition. I don't have to look up it.
Yeah.
What
are you going to do? I can't go back to work.
I don't think the Chinese government is any more or any less reliable than other governments that we keep on listening to every day. So this Trump was saying that Italy is paying for this and buy their own projected gear back from China. It's a nice story. It fits nicely into the whole propaganda that America has been spewed. Not even like America, the UK, France, Germany, my country. This China and Russia bashing has been going on for years. It's ridiculous.
Well, they were. I mean, Russia and China, I mean, they were our enemy. The Soviet Union was our enemy.
You're okay with what the Chinese do to the... You're okay with what the Chinese do to the Uyghur Muslims, right?
We need the mask. In England, they're begging. They're on their knees for fucking face masks. In China, they're sending us 6 million. So why the fuck should I hate China? They're helping us.
I don't know. Maybe you should hate China because they gave you the virus and they lied about it.
I don't believe that.
Why don't you believe that?
Well, I mean, I can say I believe it. I can say I don't believe it. The truth is that we don't know shit about this virus. That's the whole problem. We know nothing. Nobody knows anything. Everybody's just...
I'm sorry. That's one of the dumbest things. That's one of the most stupid statements I've heard you utter yet. No one knows anything?
Not about this virus, no. Nobody knows anything.
No one knows anything about the virus. Would you like to think about that statement, or you want to stand by it?
Oh, just let me ask you. Every expert on Earth, and you know how science works, they look at data. If everybody's looking at the same data, then why the fuck is everybody doing something else and having different lockdowns and different measures and different reopening tactics? And everybody's doing something else. Why is that?
You're a bit confused. You're a bit confused with knowing something about the virus and opening up tactics. What's one got to do with the other?
So, okay, let's say 100 countries are doing different things. Do you think there's any country that's doing the right thing that coincides?
Your statement We know nothing about the virus. Nothing, as in zero.
Oh, you could also say that everybody knows something about the virus. You can say everybody knows something about the virus. That's different.
Then why did you say we know nothing?
Same conclusion. Because it's the same conclusion. Everybody's doing something else. Because either they don't know anything for sure, or they all think they know something.
Why did you say?
And it's all different.
Why did you say we know nothing about it?
Can you move on, please? We're not going down this road. Move on.
All right. Well, you know what?
Right.
I'm enthusiastic about the semantics. I don't know why that is.
Are you? Well, you're not very
Impossible to move on
specific.
with.
Okay.
Are you angry, Jake?
I'm moving the show along. Go on.
Here's the deal. Tomorrow, a lot of banks are going to collapse, perhaps. Oil is down to zero, less than zero, negative 38. What is it, negative 38? Jesus.
How do you know banks are going to collapse tomorrow?
That's, you know what? I mean, that's what I'm hearing, that a lot of banks are going to, there's going to be banks collapsing, perhaps.
If that were true, my gold would be going up exponentially, wouldn't it?
Maybe. I don't know. You know what? Right now, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I'm just hearing all this stuff, and I'm hearing all this stuff, and it's like none of it's good.
I listen to the French channel.
Stop listening to all that stuff you're hearing.
Every country's news, and everybody's saying something else. That's the whole deal. Everybody's saying something else. So I don't think they know anything.
Do any of you deal in facts? Or you just wring your hands and say, woe is me?
I don't know what to do.
You're making your own facts.
I agree.
It's ridiculous.
You know what?
Nobody has
Somehow you know the facts. Get out of here.
It sounds
Go
like
on.
I'm making my own facts.
It
what
does.
facts
It does appear this way.
I don't know what to do. I'm like, this is sad times for this world, for my country and for the world.
Howard, can you put Brian on that mailing list that you get all the facts from? Because you would like to have the facts as well.
He sent me a few things, and like I said, you know what? Right now, at this moment, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to believe. All I know is
that you first.
All I know is that we've never shut down the country like this before.
No, I asked you, are the things that I sent you well sourced? Yes or no?
No, they were. They were well sourced.
They were. So
I didn't see them. I didn't see them, and I'm sure they weren't. But go on.
For me, they were. I mean, like I said,
you didn't see any of it, did you?
You're gonna trust Brian's discernment? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You're gonna have selective discernment. Go ahead. All right.
What you just said, knowing nothing of what I sent him, was complete bullshit and made up, right?
I didn't say that.
No,
but usually your information is wrong. Usually.
Aren't you an actor? You're an actor, right?
Usually your information is wrong. So go on with your selective discernment. Go ahead.
Yeah. You can call it whatever you want.
That's exactly what it is.
That's
exactly what it is. You're trying to persuade one side of the show's beliefs. So what do you think?
I didn't realize that
did you not send it to one of the hosts of the show? Yes, you did.
Why should I send anything to you?
There you go. There you go then. Okay. That's selective discernment. That's what that is. That's a personal judgment call. That's a personal judgment call you're making. But go on.
Nor do I
go
value.
on.
No, I don't value your opinion.
Go on with yourself and your awesome information. Go ahead.
What? send you anything.
Lying
I
to
don't
the
value-
masses. Go ahead.
I don't.
From
value
my
your opinion.
perspective, it's lying to the masses.
I think that you're mentally ill. I don't value your opinion.
There you go. There you go.
I would
You wouldn't send it
waste
to
my
one.
time.
You would not send information to one half of the show if you didn't care.
no. I sent it to somebody.
Then
who
why
I
would
thought
you
who
care?
was
Why would you care?
I don't
You know,
value your
you know the types of stories that Brian accepts. So yeah, why wouldn't you?
Here's the
send
deal. Here's the deal. You know what? I mean,
game. Don't worry.
there are listen. I mean, there's so much information out there,
Mhm.
and you know what, man? It's hard for me to wrap my head around any of it. I know a little bit of the past and the history. I know about the Cold War. It seems we're in a cold. You know, like this is a start of a new Cold War for our nation and I guess for our allies. And I mean, the whole start of the show was leftist thought. When we're in the middle of a cold, I mean, in a real Cold War that could heat up. I mean, if not on a military side, I mean, certainly we could be in a cold. I mean, we could even be in a cold civil war within America.
If I sent you an envelope full of anthrax, would you consider that an act of war if I was a nation sending it to another nation?
For me, yes.
Okay, so do you have any doubt when I said that the virus was purposely allowed to go around the world so China wouldn't be the only one with it? You still believe that?
I think what you're saying is very plausible.
Then
you know what? Here's the deal, Howard. Howard, here's the deal. I think what you're saying is very plausible. That's a very plausible. That could very well have happened. We do need hearings on that to find out if that's the case. I don't know why, and why the government isn't investigating that. That fact that
Good morning.
Yes. Hey.
We do have another caller. Yes.
Good morning.
Good. Oh, good
Hello,
morning.
how are you?
Is this who is this? Dr. Vape? Who is this?
Hello, Dr. Vape. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for calling in. We have Brian and Joe, and maybe One Angry Jew is here. I don't know if he's still here. I think he is.
Well,
I should open up my Skype because I got a few interesting messages on there.
yes, you got my messages.
Yes, many messages. Hopefully,
No, Brian, I sent you
Yes,
messages.
of course, more selective discernment happening.
Well, that message I'm not going to ask about someone.
Apparently, everybody knows what Brian will accept.
Yes.
Brian doesn't accept your truth.
Yes.
Yes, I believe
Brian
is correct.
Brian doesn't accept his bullshit, is what it is.
Right, exactly. He's not buying into it.
All right.
Well,
all right.
JP is mentally ill, and Brian is maybe
I would not go. He has a difference of opinion. I would never go.
Brian, would you consider that mental illness?
I consider me and him. I consider a difference of opinion not to be mentally ill.
Oh, well, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yes.
All right.
But anyway, happy birthday, Adolf Hitler, 420.
Is it really? It's not. It's not his. Is it really his birthday?
420.
On 420. This is his birthday, Hitler's birthday. We missed it by a day, though. You're an hour and a half from his birthday, yes.
Well, we still have his birthday going.
So what could, I wonder by the way, Pepe, could we actually go to war with China and not get harmed? Like, could we use a nuclear strike and not get harmed by China? Could we? Not? I thought.
But did you hear the news coming out of Korea?
Well, I know that Kim Jong Un has contracted the virus.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Kim is sick, very sick. There may be a regime change.
Yeah, they may want to get a puppet in there.
His sister, she's kind of good looking.
Is she really? She's actually has a good looking sister?
I think so.
She's a little plain.
She's okay.
She's a little plain.
Yeah, well, but she's Korean. They all have good complexions.
But I want to mention, by the way, I think in I could be wrong, but I've heard this I think it was like at the start of the Korean War. America, I think America contemplated dropping hydrogen bombs on both China and the Soviet Union. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that we wanted to do an attack.
I have sources. As you know, I have sources, right? And you asked me some questions.
Yes.
You posed some questions to me.
Yes.
And what did you think of the answers that I had given you?
Let me see.
You didn't hear him.
Wait. How far back? I'm looking. Okay, what is well? I don't know why my.
On Skype, you asked me for the.
Yes, I'm looking. I'm looking at the questions. I'm looking at them right now. I don't know why I'm not. I'm not. You did answer. I'm not. You know what? This thing does not. My Skype. Let me see here. Read messages. Let me see. You called me. What the fuck is woke? And then you had the black guy with a gun.
Woke was, but I didn't know what woke was. And you asked about you asked a couple questions from a military guy that I know about what's going on down there. Yeah, from a general that I happen to have known for quite a while, and I don't know, somehow maybe they went missing. But anyway, I tried to help you out on some questions.
You did say, well, you did mention, you did mention, one of the things I remember you mentioning was that we've never shut the economy down like this before, and that opening it about now and in about May would be a good thing to do. But what the fuck? So I wonder what the hell's going to happen with the oil markets just took a dump. What's going to happen with that?
Well, but it's going to come back at some point. There's a glut. They don't know what to do with the oil. They can't dispose of it. There is no shelf life on oil, and there is no one to take it, to store it. Nobody can take it. So at some point it will go back up. You will be paying more at the pump eventually. I believe oil companies will be okay at this point. I believe Netflix was a good buy. At some point I would short it if we ever get out of the quarantine. But Netflix has been a great buy, I guess. It was up, $16, $18 today a share.
Yeah. And Brian's been worried about these oil companies buckling, but all you have to do is look at the profits they've made for the last 50 years. And
No, that won't happen.
That won't happen.
But they have nowhere to store it at this point, and they can't shut down pumps, as you know. You probably know this. You can't shut off oil well, just like you can a faucet. It doesn't work that way. It would be nice if you could, but you can't.
So this is a real pickle, man. And I'm not hearing you. You're breaking up on me, Pepe.
Nappy just shut down like a faucet. You just can't shut it down. It's the problem. That's why they're giving it away, and there's nowhere to store it in here. They can't just bury it in the ground. And there is no shelf life on it. Shelf life is about 18 months on whether it's food or processed oil.
Can you? I mean, I've heard that you can make materials out of oil, though. Like you make toilet seats out of it.
You would know that.
I would.
Robert, what's your take on it?
Man, I'm just seeing a lot of doom and gloom right now, and all of the things that human beings used to do. It's changed culture worldwide, and overnight,
things will change. Yeah.
So,
but Howard's right. His gold would be moving upwards if you think the banks are going to crash. I mean, Howard's got a real good point he's making about his gold.
Yeah, gold is. Buying gold. Yeah, precious metals in general. I mean, with gold, yeah. It's just, man.
Problem is you just can't carry it around with you. You know.
I'm almost like I said. This is like one of these bad futuristic movies where there's like an apocalypse, kind of thing, and food and other things.
Yeah.
Like.
It's a surreal dream. I agree with you. It's a surreal dream. It's hard to fathom. There's no doubt about it. Where are the other two gentlemen? What happened? And RD, where's RD?
I think RD's still in the chat room, in one of the chat rooms, and then I think Howard's still on the line. But now he believes that China did this kind of thing deliberately, like to hold, like there's a lot of evidence for that it came from China, and that China decided not to tell us because they didn't want to suffer alone. Is that correct? Like, because then they would have been, their economy would have been shot to hell, and they would not have been a premier power. Is that correct?
There's going to be there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of finger pointing. In years to come, we're going to find out a lot of things that these are questions that need to be answered, and I don't believe anything that's coming out of China. Do you?
No, but America, the thing is, our country is really kind of divided on the whole China thing. I mean, like I said, there is a possibility that we are entering into a Cold War. And there are going to be people on the side of China and those who aren't. And it's like, and there's the left and there's the right. And there are people like who know an enemy and who don't know an enemy. And it's
that was one of the questions you asked me about where the military stood, whether they were on the left or the far right. You asked one of those questions that you wanted me to ask a general.
Yeah, I've noticed though that they have a lot of woke left. I mean, they have it's not majority, but the military does have somewhat woke left. I mean, woke leftism, I think, has infiltrated itself in all of our institutions to some point or another.
Well, I believe he said that they were as wacky on the right as they were on the left, the ones that were. Yeah. That was the answer, I believe.
They can be. I mean, there are extremes. There's fanaticism on.
Your questions scared him, to be honest with you. Some of them scared him a little bit, especially when you asked him about, the equality and about a couple things you asked. He was kind of frightened. He kind of frightened him a little bit.
Like about equality.
Because when I told him where you were from, and I said, yeah, he's from California and out of Hollywood. And he said, well, there you go.
Well, no, I mean, but did you tell him I was kind of a conservative out of Hollywood? I mean, to a degree.
Yes, but you know how elderly military guys think. They right away. You're out of Hollywood, and typical, the cliche we could say about. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to sound like a racist or a bigot or a.
Yeah. But no, you're right on that. There is a lot of.
You know where I'm going. You know where he was going with that answer, right?
Yeah.
When I told him where you were from. And they, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how he looked at it.
that's
Well into his 70s, and he's a military guy that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I bet he's retired, but still, in the know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming that he's kind of. Does he see? I mean, do you get anyone who sees like any light in the tunnel right now?
I think he does. I think he sees it. Do I see the light in the tunnel? I don't know. Who's to say? Who's to say? I'm not smart enough to know that.
Right now,
so day by day.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew where to dig at this point to get to that. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we have we have nothing historically to point to. This is unprecedented.
You do. He's pointed out the 10 worst epidemics in history, and he's also pointed out the 1918 flu and it's the pandemic in 1918. And it to me, it mirrors it almost to the T. There is going to be a second wave. There will be a third wave, I believe.
You're never going to be rid of this virus.
Right, you're exactly right, Howard. Until there is a vaccine.
There's never going to be a vaccine.
Yeah, right.
There will not be one. The Chinese have been trying to make a vaccine for SARS for the last 18 years. They've yet to do it.
Well, I think they've only eradicated one virus as up to now, right? Isn't that smallpox? Is that the only one?
They've managed to eradicate the human race, though. They're working towards it, doing quite well.
It could be, yeah. Could be.
This virus
the
virus was an act of war. They lodged an act of war against everybody.
See, I don't believe that. I think they could have developed they certainly could have released a much lethal and stronger virus on.
No, I didn't say they unleashed the virus on purpose. They lied about it long enough to make sure that everybody got infected.
Would you agree with that, Pepe?
Howard is certainly not out of the realm to be right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I wouldn't say wrong. That's for sure.
I think the government. I think our government needs to.
Would you say he's more right than wrong?
I wouldn't go. I would consider your. I would consider what you're saying, but I wouldn't know. Howard, I just wouldn't know. I won't know for a while. We won't know for a while.
Let's say they lied.
But
that's the
Chinese. We know
Even
that the
if they lied
Chinese knew.
about it, don't
We
you
know
think
that the
that our
Chinese
intelligence
that the
agencies
virus.
would have known? Come on, with all the spying we do.
What is it? Everybody talked over. Everybody just starts flapping their gums when somebody else talks.
All right. Go ahead, Howard. Go ahead, and then RD, it's your turn.
10 minutes. I thought it was my turn, Howard. Sorry.
Go ahead, Howard.
So I guess when I was talking, that was your cue that was your turn. I can see where you might get confused.
All right,
Go
Howard.
ahead.
Howard, go ahead, please.
So at the end of December, the Chinese knew that they had a communicable disease that was quite deadly and very SARS-like. And yet they colluded with the World Health Organization because the World Health Organization tweeted that it wasn't communicable. And the Chinese didn't admit that until mid-January, after they had gone around the world scooping up all the protective gear, which they wouldn't have needed if it wasn't communicable. But it was. And since they knew that, and they made sure that we had no protection, and we didn't know about it for a couple of weeks, we could have kept it in China, but they didn't do that. They made sure everybody got it.
They are hoarding. That's true. They are hoarding their. What they
You didn't hear what I just said.
Yeah,
They stole. They cleaned up the masks. They took them all. They left you in America with no masks.
Right.
And then they didn't tell you. And they didn't tell you that it was communicable. In fact, they told you it wasn't communicable. And then they came out and finally told you it was, but it was too late. They had already allowed all the people in Wuhan to fly all over the world. They were locking down China. They brought in the military. They just didn't tell the Chinese in Wuhan. And they made sure that those people traveled. Even though they were locking down their borders, they let everybody get on airplanes to go everywhere. And a lot of them went to the U.S.
As a matter of fact, they were here signing a trade agreement while that was happening. They sent their representatives.
Well, thank you for reminding me. Did you know that the trade agreement has an out clause? Do you know what it is? Are you aware that the trade agreement has an out clause?
I'm listening. I don't want to talk over you. I'm listening. I'm waiting for an answer.
Trade agreement. The Chinese made sure that they put in the agreement that the agreement is null and void. They don't have to do any of the trade. They don't have to make any of the buying if there's a worldwide pandemic.
That's like betting on the bubonic plague will be coming back, isn't it?
They wrote in that a pandemic nullifies the trade agreement.
So in other words, you're saying they knew it. They knew it when they signed that agreement that there was a pandemic.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
RD, do you have a response?
He's busy ordering Chinese
All right, come on, I asked RD.
food. Don't
No,
I'm getting mine from JP because JP's told me I'm learning the truth.
Could you just give us a link, Howard, where it says that this out in the trade agreement nullifies the whole.
I may have sent it to Mr. Midnight Movie. I'm laying in bed, so you're not going to get it now. I may have already sent it to Mr. Midnight Movie, though.
You know what? The link that the link, let me see here.
I just wonder what the source is, just because whenever there's like I Googled for one of the things you said, and I know I might not have the link that you wanted to give us, Howard, but if something starts with, if anybody adds the word communistic to the word China, I'm already suspicious, It's already suspicious. If somebody says the communistic country China, as if you want to add that, as if you need to add that. That's ridiculous. I'm just reminding you that China is communist. Jesus. That's ridiculous.
I'd like to see it, to be honest with you, but I'd like to see it. I'm not saying it's ridiculous, but I'd like to see it. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
The only thing is I can't.
When was the trade agreement signed? It was signed in January. When were they here? They sent about 6 representatives to Washington and signed it. How long ago?
While they were claiming that it wasn't transmissible. Yes.
Yes, and these 6 individuals, I think there were about 6 of them. They were already infected while they shaking hands with our politicians down in Washington. But we were letting, But I see where you're going.
By the way, you'll see it all on my website. You'll see it all on my new website. I went out and got biologicalchernobyl.com and chinachernobyl.com. I own them.
This isn't linked to that invention you had at one time, is it? Just joking. I'm sorry.
China, Chernobyl. But yeah, I mean, well, Howard is coming in with a lot of doom and gloom, which could be true, and it's depressing if that's the case.
He said the banks. You mentioned the banks were going to collapse, and Howard said his gold is. What did you say about your gold, Howard? It would be rising, going through the roof if that was true, right?
Going to collapse, my gold would be going through the roof.
He's right. He's right, Brian. He's right.
I'm just reading what people are saying. Like the banks are going to collapse.
The market's going to be volatile. The market's going to be volatile for a long time. There's no doubt about it. There's some money to be made, though. The drilling companies, the oil companies, they're bargains at this point. They're bargain basement prices.
Yeah.
Look at a company like Apache Oil, this drilling company, this exploration company. They were at one time they were at $76 a share. They're down to like $8 a share.
Yeah. But it's just,
You know,
Brian won't buy them until JP tells him to.
but then he's going to go broke.
yeah, well. Right now, I don't, you know what? I mean, I'm kind of like,
Movers and shakers in today's
my
market.
badge and just,
Like I told JP, and I told JP Netflix. JP says he's not buying anything in this world in today's environment. Well, I mean, he makes a great point. I mean, it's really difficult to make good moves, but you know, logically, there's some really good moves to be made out there. I'm not saying I know them or anything.
What good moves are there what good moves are there right now to buy? Give me a break.
If we knew that right before the quarantine, Netflix was a great move, because everybody's sitting. But obviously, if the quarantine never ends,
I'm talking about today.
It's going to tank.
Yeah.
Hmm?
No, I'm talking about right now. No, my advice would be if you invest with 80% of your of your capital, then you're being far too aggressive as an investor.
Yes,
period.
that's no doubt about it.
here's what I would do.
Yeah, you should always have some chicken money. You should always have some chicken money on the side because it makes you sleep better at night. I'm sure you would agree with that. Right?
I'm sure JP is waiting for flat Earth drilling to go down to the right price.
Well, he wouldn't need to go far. He wouldn't need to drill far at that point.
If they find a cure, if they find a vaccination for the coronavirus, I'm going to put about $100,000 into if I could put them on invest maybe into spearmint rhino.
There you go. I'll tell you right now, overproduced strip clubs are all you're going to see after this. You're not going to have any more hole in the wall dive strip bars, and that's a sad thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's it is what it is. And you know, Joe, I think right now we've kind of exhausted the topic. I mean, right now, unless anyone has, I think we're gonna say, we're gonna give.
Well, you know what? If you said earlier you don't know where to dig your feet in to look at this. Well,
no, I don't.
Okay, so some would say that there's been a war. Again, this is a war against an invisible enemy. That
China's not invisible.
Which, well, it's invisible. You can't see it.
Okay.
So,
Wrong.
Okay.
Wrong.
All right. Go ahead. Tell me where anybody has seen this so far invisible. And I'm not the one that proposed this, by the way. This is the politicians that have proposed this.
The enemy is China. China's the enemy. You can see them.
I would have to agree with that 100%.
Has there been any politician that's called that? I've only heard them call it an invisible enemy.
Yeah. Yes.
Who?
Several Republican senators.
All right. So this is so far a war against
Who
an
are
invisible.
these senators that said that?
Yeah.
Who have said
So
that,
far, this is a war against an invisible enemy. From maybe not all of the politicians, but from what we've heard, mostly it's a war. But this has been used to terminate the right to peacefully assemble. No doubt.
Well, you're hitting on another point there, but this
So
isn't
this
the
is
first
so
pandemic
so
we've
for
ever
somebody
had.
who's
This isn't the first
so
pandemic
for somebody
ever
that's
struck
looking
the
to
world.
dig their feet in, I would say there's a First Amendment opportunity. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment or religion,
Well, look at the
or
10th
prohibiting
Amendment,
the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's the First Amendment.
Where's he getting the information from, Howard? Where's he reading?
That's the First
Where do you think
Amendment.
it's-
What do you mean? I'm reading the First Amendment. I'm telling you verbatim what it says.
Quite badly, I might add.
Yes, that's what I agree.
Go ahead and find it. Go find it. That's exactly what it says. I read that.
Were you reading it verbatim, or were you just making it up as you
No,
went
that was
along?
that. No, that's my memory, but that's what it says. If you go read.
Oh, that's your memory. Oh, I thought so.
Do you want to pull it up? Do you want to pull it up? Go get the
just-
First Amendment right now, and I'll replay exactly what I'll repeat what I told you to
Did
your.
you not say you were reading it verbatim, and now you just said that it was from memory?
Yes,
I'm-
he did.
I am. I'm
agree.
reading my memory verbatim.
He's reading his memory.
You're a liar.
There you go.
You're
I
an
am. I am reading my memory verbatim. You asked me if I'm.
actor.
No, that's not what he asked.
Give me a
That's not what
break.
he asked.
That's not an actor. Come on now.
I'll get you the exact quote right now, man.
You were.
I will find the exact quote right now.
Well, not
You're
yeah.
finding
That's
that
better
quote.
than
You
you were
can't-
making up.
But you
Of
can
course.
too. You can too.
You know what? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
this may be off topic, but I think if this
He was
pandemic
Howard.
ever ends, I would love to
Is-
see Howard. By the way, can I just mention? And they're maybe not old enough yet, but we could suspend belief. But and you tell me if you think I'm wrong, Beppe, that Howard and JP would be perfect in a rendition of the Sunshine Boys.
Yes, yes. How could you disagree with that? How could I disagree
Both of
with
the
that?
Sunshine Boys had a sense of humor. JP has no sense of humor.
Oh, that.
Or the Odd Couple.
That's a good one. That right there says it all. Because you have
Yes.
absolutely
You
no
know
sense
what?
of.
You would play the Walter Matthau. I mean, I would. Howard, I would. You would be the Walter Matthau.
Howard has Debbie's 60-year-old sense of humor. Of course, he's hilarious.
Well, old man, you know.
Oh shit! After all the fucking hilarious fucking things I've done to Howard, he has the balls to say that. Give me a break.
Well,
I made
John
Brian.
Reese.
I can make Brian laugh so much better than Howard. It's like
well,
ridiculous.
Howard-
And to me, that's the true test of
Howard is jealous of me and Dennis. Howard is jealous of me and Dennis. By the way, I'm
He is
convinced.
very jealous. Yes,
Dennis and I.
yes. That is the odd couple right there.
Can I ask you a question, JP?
You may.
Did you watch, by any chance, did you get a chance to see The Last Dance yesterday? Any portion of it?
No.
The story about Michael Jordan's Last Dance, it's called. It's a four-part series on
No.
ESPN, I believe it is.
I didn't.
And anyway, they did an interview with John Paxson. You look just like him.
No.
By the
No,
way,
I
are
don't.
you doing Botox
No.
with your eyes?
No. Get a
Doing
close
Botox?
up. No, get a close up. No.
It looks like you're doing Botox.
Howard's
Howard,
seen me closer up on my. No, I'm not. I'm not wrinkle free. Get out of here.
You look like you're doing Botox, but you look like John Paxson.
I've
by the
never
way. Take a
done
look at John.
fucking Botox, Brian. I would tell Brian.
I don't believe it.
I will pay you a fucking $1 million. I will pay you $100 million.
If you said blow talks, I would say
Pay
yeah.
you
You're right.
I'll pay you $100.
Oh,
I'll
If it
pay
was
you
Botox,
$100.
should have known.
I will pay you $100, you son of a bitch.
You're on Blowtox. I'm sorry. I was
if Brian Brian
It
would
was
know if I've
Blowtox.
done, yeah, Blowtox.
Right. Brian's right. Blowtox. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not Botox. It's a Blowtox.
You'll kill the coronavirus. By the way, that will kill the coronavirus.
Yes.
It's on a bleach bottle. It's on a bleach bottle.
By the way,
coronavirus.
by you saying that, that's a very nice compliment, and I'll take it.
Maybe, by the way, they can just inject people with bleach, and that'll kill the virus.
Yeah, he's saying I look like I Botox. Shit, I haven't had that compliment ever, so that's good.
You know who else had Botox to the head? But he said it was because of the concussions that was given to him. Liza Minnelli's ex-husband said that he had to get Botox injections to the head because she would just smash. She would conk him on the head every time.
Anyways, to get back to it, John Paxton has a much better head of hair than I do. So what the fuck did John Paxton say?
Well, it looks similar to you. Right?
Oh, it was just a looks thing. You weren't listening to him.
Yeah.
Is John Paxton's dead, right?
No, John Paxton's not dead.
Let me take a look.
Similar.
No, okay. Yeah, the point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won all those championships with Jordan.
Not the Incredible Hulk.
And he was not. I don't think he was. He was a tribesman.
No,
not that Paxton, not the one that died.
That's Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton is dead.
He's dead. John Paxton. Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you for taking my. By the way, thank you for taking my call, Howard. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. RD, thank you for telling me to call in. I'll never call in.
Where again, where are you going? Where are you going? You're gonna try to enjoy your night after this? Are you? This is an embarrassment. This show.
Of course it is.
Well, maybe it's an embarrassment. I don't know. We were talking about the left, and then it dwelled into like the horrible things that our country has to look forward to. Howard wants to go nuclear, and
he does.
nuke China. Look,
he's going to go.
You know what?
Internally, he's going to go nuclear.
You know what? I mean, look. There's a part of me.
Take a look at what's going on in Korea. Kim is like on his deathbed, according to what I heard tonight.
Well, perhaps some Blowtox.
Oh yeah. And by the way, your sumo is ruined. Did RD tell you?
Yeah, I heard it was postponed. No, I heard it was postponed. You're saying it's ruined?
2 weeks. It's pushed back 2 weeks.
Oh, that's nothing, man. I'll take it any day. I'll take 2 weeks.
If one wrestler turns up positive, it's done.
Keep those.
And
guys
one already has, but he's a lower ranker, by the way.
Someone in the sumo community has tested positive.
No sumo for those Americans.
No sumo for you.
No sumo for anyone. Yeah. I didn't know you guys.
Andy Bowen says everyone knows everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do.
We all know a little bit about everything and a lot about nothing. I've always said that.
Yes.
But
I
Andy
wish I could have some ice cream.
Hitler. It was Hitler's birthday, so tell him Heil Hitler.
Yesterday was Andy's favorite day of the year.
Hitler's birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. Hitler would have been how old? 130.
RD,
he could still be alive for all we know.
RD, what did you do to celebrate Hitler's birthday?
No, we didn't celebrate it, JP, before you asked. No, we don't celebrate it.
Now, by the way, did you celebrate 420, RD?
No, we don't celebrate that either.
Well, now, have they shut the houses of prostitution down in Norway? Is it? Are you from what country?
Not in Norway.
Norway. Not Norway.
You're way off. Norway.
Let's just can you? I know the Netherlands is hard to remember. Can you just remember Amsterdam? Just pretend I'm from Amsterdam.
You're in a coastal city though. You're not in Amsterdam, but that's close enough.
No, my life goal is to stay as far away from Amsterdam, but within the country. But I'll take it.
What do you hate most about Amsterdam? Is it the tourists?
By the way, I've invited
Oh.
RD to your house. I've took it upon myself to invite him to your house.
Mine?
Because I feel that he's almost an American.
I would love to have RD over. Bring the kid.
Not in a million years.
Don't worry, RD. He'll back out of it like he backed out on Dennis anyway. So don't worry.
No. I'm confident that he would have somewhat of a plan, and then when he got to America, he wouldn't call me outside, smoking outside of a reception office at a motel, wondering what to do next.
Joe is afraid. Joe is afraid that RD would just not RD, but that God, I can't even remember the guy's name.
Dennis.
That Dennis would just camp for a couple of years at his home, and he would never get rid of him.
Yeah, imagine if he got here. He was supposed to be here the day of the whole thing went down, and then flights back to Canada stopped about 2 days later. So
he was sick. I
literally was supposed to be at my house, and then
whatever he had,
like a month.
It might have even been worse than Corona. It might have been a new virus, and I didn't want any part of that.
And he was sick, so yeah, I flaked on him. Okay,
he did.
He had pneumonia times 30.
I offered him to buy him a hotel room. Did he tell you that?
He needed to go home. He was sick. He wasn't feeling well.
So what did that have to do with me?
Yeah.
He needed to go home.
But what did that have to do with me?
You should have rubbed Vicks on his gut.
He needed to go home.
So how did I back out?
You didn't rub Vicks on his chest.
You promised him a room at his. Promised him to stay at your house, and you backed out.
Yeah, because my wife heard him mumbling drunk outside of a motel room.
You backed out.
I backed out. Give me a break.
You didn't help him hide the dead hooker. And that's
don't use that as your wife.
That's totally what happened. I said, listen to this guy, and she shook her head, and I'm like, all right. She shook her head, and I said, all right.
Let me ask your wife. I want proof. Hashtag proof, as you would say to me. Hashtag
oh, yeah. Go get your wife, and I'll get mine. How about that? We'll both have them tell each other the truth. Okay.
No, thank you.
No, not going to happen with you two.
Gentlemen.
Got nothing to do with this. I never mentioned my wife. My wife, she wasn't staying in my house.
Well,
you have. Your house.
I'm telling you a story, so
don't bait me. You can bait some of the people.
Then go get your wife, and I'll get mine, and
you're the one that brought up.
You're the one that wants to involve her. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Bring Debbie. Let's ask.
You're angry. Debbie. You are an angry man.
Let's ask Debbie.
You are the angry man. I could tell.
I'm not angry.
Yes.
I'm angry.
You've been asking me if I'm angry all week. You're angry.
I haven't.
I figured it out.
I haven't talked to you in a year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen.
Yours or yours?
It's now 12 o'clock here.
Your choice.
I sense tension and jealousy.
Your choice, man. And there's no jealousy. There's no, absolutely not.
I heard you were jealous.
I said when RD said he was talking to you, I said, "Wow, I am." I said, "I'm jealous." That's right. I said he should be talking to me. Also,
why?
That's a ridiculous. Why? Because you're a friend. Because I like to talk to my friends.
Well, why don't you treat me like one, and I might talk to you more?
That's absurd. I've never heard of a worse accusation in my life.
Well, maybe we could have this discussion privately, and then we'll iron it out.
All right.
I don't like to air, as you know, I don't like to air my laundry. Sometimes it depends, how high I am and how Xanaxed I'm out. I'll air my laundry in public on occasion, but in this case, I would rather do it privately.
All right. Well,
but I do enjoy talking.
I didn't think it went.
Talking.
You could take it to that level, but I'm just saying. Look, hang around. And if you don't want to hang around, that's on you, not me.
All right,
Period.
gentlemen.
Period.
No, I understand that.
I didn't make that
appreciate
call.
that.
You did. If you think I'm
I
a bad
understand
friend, then you have your reasons. There you go.
Gentlemen.
I think I'm a good friend to you.
Yes. All right. What's up, Brian? Sorry.
All right. I know. I don't want things to get too contentious out here.
And Brian, I hope that your diabetes works out for you, and and Howard too. You know, I enjoy talking to you guys. Come on.
I hope so. I tell you this. I hope so too. I hope our country makes it through. Man, I
We
do have
will.
a.
You know that things are going to change. It has to. Things will change.
Great quote from the chat. Andy Bowen says Beppy got Dennis all riled up, and he went berserk on me and JP.
Tell Andy Bowen. Who's this Andy Bowen guy, by the way? I don't even know this Andy Bowen guy. Who is
His
he?
name is Andy Boner. But
Andy Boners.
Is this the Andy Bong, the one that's semi?
No,
that's
Andy.
Okay.
Andy Bong is
Talk to him,
a
by the way.
Christ.
We need to
He's
talk
a
to
Christ-
him and KDD.
Yes, I
That's
miss
the
that
one
guy.
that lives in his mom's basement.
Yes,
the Andy
I miss
Bowen
him.
Lives in his mom's
He had to
Yes.
his last few shows he came on with us. He had to whisper the entire time because it was late.
And
His
he was
mom
not, by the way.
mad.
One time he had his flashlight on and he was sitting in his closet whispering to us. I'm not kidding. It was amazing. Andy Bong was the best.
And we wanted to watch Adult Fair with him, but he said, "Guys, get the hell out of here."
Is this the guy with the Jetta?
No.
With the U-Haul attached to it?
You know. The one thing, Beppe, the one time you bailed on us, we were watching Adult Fair, and when we got to Granny Adulties, you just hung up on the line, and I think that's when you decided not to call in for a while after that. I think it was a little bit too scary.
I refuse to anchor. As you know, there are certain people I refuse to, that I'm afraid of. So there you go.
Fear is
I don't do
very bad.
I don't do granny jokes.
You have nothing to fear.
No. Well, I was talking about watching the granny porn, and you just hung up the phone like we were watching just Adult Fair, and we got into the 80-year-olds, and that was it.
That was it. Sayonara.
Well, I think I dropped the phone. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's a lie. I don't know.
It was Bone Me Gold Bond or something like that, and it's
Okay.
But, you gave me a lot of questions to ask. And that gentleman was really, at the third question you asked, he got frightened. He said, "Who is this guy?"
What about woke people in the military?
And I was talking to Brigadier General, about these questions you asked. But he wouldn't answer about the black guy, the guy that you asked about. What was his
Malcolm
name?
Nance?
You asked about who?
Malcolm Nance?
Yeah, he wouldn't answer that one.
Why wouldn't he
But
answer?
then he answered your question about how the military doesn't really go in that direction, with the because you always go into the white guilt. You always you go into racist crap all the time. It always comes on the race at some point with you.
Well,
So what happened to Howard? I want to say goodnight to Howard.
One of my interests, but I was wondering about Malcolm Nance because people think that he's kind of a leftist shill. I was going to eat my sandwich. All right, I want to eat my sandwich, Joe.
Yes, it's time to eat. Time to eat. Everybody, go eat.
And
thank you, everybody, for joining.
What have you guys been eating, by the way? What have you guys been eating, by the way?
Food. Hopefully, not too much of it.
I'm eating this right now. This is a wrap. Right.
I had to do a frightening thing today, and I got to do a frightening thing on Thursday. I had to go to the dentist today. It's like going to the car wash of viruses, right? It's like being in a virus environment, But I had no choice. My crown fell out.
Bad luck on that.
Well,
shit.
Yeah, what was I going to do? And I got to go back to get the permanent one put in on Thursday. So I'm a little frightened about it. Not happy about it anyway.
What's up, Dennis?
Wear a mask.
How you doing, Darren? Welcome to the show. Late, by the way.
Was your dentist wearing a mask?
He was wearing a mask. You know, he claims that he had the corona. He didn't do a flu shot this year, which kind of freaked me out a little bit. And he thinks he had this virus back in December. He says he's never been so sick in his life back in December. And I have a friend that's a nurse. She works in liver transplant research. Highly paid individual, and she's always in the fire, always vaccinated, and she got sick in December too, and she claimed that it was corona back in December.
Oh, wait a minute.
That far back.
You didn't answer my question. Was he wearing a mask?
Yes, he was.
Was he wearing a face shield?
Was he wearing what?
A face shield.
I believe he was.
Well, you do realize I wouldn't want to be a dentist now, because any drilling he does aerosolizes everything.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be in a dentist office.
Scared man.
Are you flushing your poop with the lid closed, Howard? Because I read that you should do that today.
Yeah, go back and order your Chinese food, RD. We're done with you. Again, I wouldn't want to be in the dental office.
I'm completely serious. They say if you flush your poop, the same thing that you just
Why
made.
don't you ask JP then questions? He's the king of shit.
Because he asked you.
Yeah, you're the one being so precautious. I mean, I'm not even wearing a mask or anything.
Well, you're foolish.
So you can't answer his question. Interesting.
Apparently, I would be shit if I don't.
Interesting.
Do you know what the daily rate?
Very interesting. Oh, this man with all these questions, and he got plowed. Boom! Right in the nuts.
Know what the rate of new infections are in Thailand?
Great question, RD. Best question of the night.
Yeah, you can shut up now. Do you know what the rate of infections are in Thailand lately, RD?
Well, I could look it up, but I'm guessing you can tell me just to be easier.
Oh, certainly. Today was 27. Yesterday was 30. It's going down. That's 30 infected people in the whole country of 70 million. Do you know what the rate of infection was in Philadelphia? Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we don't calculate it that way. The way we calculate it is just like the governor of New York is talking about these 0.9 or 1.2. So that's what you really want to be looking at if you want to compare countries. That is.
Why do you suppose the rate of infection is not only going down, but is exceptionally low in Thailand? And not in your country or any other Scandinavian country. Why do you suppose that is?
Well, the thing is that if you want to compare it to my country, we are hardly testing anybody, so we have no idea what the rate of infection is. There's hardly anybody being tested.
Again, compared to most of the other countries, Thailand is very low. Why do you think that might be?
It doesn't tell me anything because hardly anybody's getting tested.
Oh, they're testing in Thailand. Again,
how many?
Do you think there's something?
How many tests?
Are you doing a day?
Do you think there might be something different about Thailand than other countries, such as
how many tests?
Maybe the United States and Thailand. What do you think? You think there might be a difference in what they're doing? I can tell you what it is. Some of them are N95, some of them are not, but everybody wears some kind of mask. Do you think that might have something to do with the fact that the rate of infection has slowed?
you can't really compare it because not
How many
everybody's
tests?
being tested.
I'm sorry. Can you keep the children quiet?
No, it's impossible.
I've heard there's been as low as 3,000. I've heard there's been as low as 3,000 tests in all of Thailand.
Oh, really? What was your source for that?
That's what I've heard. I'm not saying that's right.
No,
I've
Lee.
also heard 5,000, and I've heard up to 8,000. I've seen a lot of numbers
And
for Thailand.
Where did you hear this?
That's what I'm just telling you what I've seen. I'm not saying that's the truth. That's what I've seen. I'm just asking you if what you've seen or heard.
Wait a minute. Did you see it or did you hear it? Because you said you heard it.
I've seen it and I've seen and heard it.
You have seen both and heard it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you were reading a talking newspaper? What?
I saw it in a couple different articles, 5 or 8,000, something like that, and then somebody told me in a phone call that.
So the person that told you was the verb. The person that told you in the phone call, that was the verbal part.
Remember, I said I have heard as low as 3,000, but I've seen 5,000. I've seen 8,000. So,
but you can't tell me where you saw it.
I don't live there, and I don't give a shit. So that's why we're asking you. That's why we're asking you. You seem to have. You live there, and we're asking you if you know. Hello, have you heard anything?
Oh, no, you didn't ask me if I knew. I don't live in the United States, but I can tell you what the numbers are. So, what's the significance of you not being here?
You live there and you brought it up, and we want to know if you have any idea how many people have been tested in Thailand. I've heard as low as 3,000, but I've also.
Okay, you know what? I just heard the numbers in the U.S. So they have Texas, the COVID numbers.
I think he remembered the question. That's why he was doing this.
I'm just going over the numbers of COVID numbers in Texas. 318, California 767, New York 10,834, Florida 571, Michigan 1,768, New Jersey 2,805, Alabama 110, Rhode Island 80, Illinois 668, Maryland 302, Ohio 324, New Hampshire 27, South Dakota 6, Vermont 29, Tennessee 124, Alaska 9, West Virginia 9, Arkansas 32, Wyoming 1, Oklahoma 108, Mississippi 111, Massachusetts 957, Missouri 142, Georgia 501, Kansas 69, Connecticut 671, Indiana 387, Kentucky 115, Idaho 33, Minnesota 79, Hawaii 9, North Dakota 9, Louisiana 1,013, Nevada 120, Arizona 131, Utah 19, Pennsylvania 696, New Mexico 31, North Carolina 108.
Keep going.
South Carolina 97, Wisconsin 170, Delaware 43, Oregon 55, Nebraska 18, Iowa 49, Vermont 29, Washington 523, Montana 7, Virginia 154, Maine 20, and then they have, did they do Oregon again? So Oregon 55 and Colorado 329.
Nice.
And the flu is still much higher than COVID. So we've had, with the exception of New York, has been like the epicenter in this country with 10,834 deaths.
There you have it. Facts. Apparently.
Well, California is lower because, particularly lower than New York, because we are less condensed than New York. New York, they're like sardines, and it's very densely populated, and I don't think New York responded very good to COVID-19. Oh, we just said it, but yeah. Anyway, let's call it a day, Joe.
All right.
Are you suffering from obsessive compulsive disorder?
Maybe, and then maybe I am, and maybe I am. I don't know. And I shouldn't have said that because I think that's going to hurt this video. Anytime you mention it.
All right. Any last words? Are we done?
Like and subscribe, and like I said before, here I'll give one. You want to give a last word, and then I'll give one, Howard.
Go ahead, Howard.
You're an actor and you suck.
I can't be beaten. I can't be beaten by a lying troll. So thanks.
RD, do you have anything to add before we call this show over? RD? All right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. RD left.
RD left.
So we'll just call it a night.
Yeah, and like I said,
like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. The show is about leftism, and part of it was, and how far it's gone, and how much they've manipulated people's minds. And it is hard for me to see like a Cuban American have.
Dude, you asked where you can dig your feet in, and I say First Amendment, man. Go after that. That should be where you're focused.
Absolutely. All right.
All right, man. That is it.